Hello everyone and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here, because today we're going to unravel a daily mystery that, honestly, most of us completely take for granted. We're going to demystify the incredible, hidden mechanics working constantly behind that simple blank search bar we all use every single day. Think about it. You type a few words, hit enter, and boom, your answer just magically appears. Feels like magic, right? But behind that really simple interface is actually one of the most advanced, sophisticated computer systems ever created by humanity. And today, we're going to break down exactly how the whole shebang works.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because to truly understand the system, you first have to wrap your head around the sheer scale of what it's dealing with. 100,000. That is the number of searches Google processes every single second. Take a second right now to just let that sink in. Literally, in the time it took me to say that sentence, millions of people around the world searched for answers. Some are looking up breaking news, some want a recipe for dinner, others are trying to find the nearest coffee shop, and some are asking massive, life-changing questions. The system handles all of it, constantly, without breaking a sweat.
And it's not just the number of users that's massive, it's the size of the internet itself. There are over 100 billion web pages out there right now. Hundreds of billions of individual pages packed with text, images, videos, and code. To put that into perspective, that is an ocean of data that's almost impossible for the human mind to fully comprehend. Which brings us to the ultimate question. How is it physically, technologically possible for a system to sift through hundreds of billions of web pages and give you the exact right answer in less than 1 second? How does it instantly pull the most relevant results out of an endless sea of information?
Well, here's our roadmap for decoding this massive system. First, behind the search box. Second, crawling and indexing. Third, the ranking algorithm. Fourth, reaching number 1. And fifth, AI and the future.
Let's start with Section 1, Behind the Search Box, the Librarian Illusion. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shatters the biggest illusion we all have about search engines. When you hit enter, Google does not search the live internet in real time. Not at all. There's literally no way. That would be physically impossible. Instead, imagine walking into the world's biggest library. You don't walk around and read every single book in the building to find your answer, right? You go straight up to the librarian, and within seconds, they tell you exactly which shelf and which book you need. Google already knows where almost everything is before you even start typing. It's already collected and organized the information. You aren't searching the live web, you are searching Google's highly organized record of the web. So how exactly does it build that record?
That brings us to Section 2, Crawling and Indexing, Building the Digital Library. Every search engine relies on 3 foundational pillars. Step 1 is crawling, which is finding the information. Step 2 is indexing, organizing that info. And step 3 is ranking, which we're going to get to in just a moment. But before a page can be ranked, it obviously has to be found and put on the right virtual shelf.
Finding the information is done by these absolutely fascinating automated programs called Googlebots, or web crawlers. I like to think of them as tiny digital spiders traveling across the internet. Every second, they're visiting websites around the world. They open pages, read the text, analyze the images, and this is absolutely crucial. They follow links from one page to another to discover new content. It's like a giant puzzle. They analyze the titles, the headings, the keywords, and the overall structure of a page to understand what it's truly about. Is it about technology? Is it cooking? Travel? They gather all this up and send it straight back to Google's massive data centers.
Once the data is back at the data centers, it goes into the Google Index, basically the world's biggest digital library, where every useful web page gets a place on an endless virtual shelf. But actually, scratch that. It doesn't just store everything. Not every page makes the cut. The index acts as a massive quality filter. Google actively ignores pages that are just duplicate copies of other content, pages that are of really low quality, links that are broken, or sites that are outright spam and misleading. The goal here is simple, but absolutely vital. Store only the most useful and trustworthy information for you, the end user. Now that this massive digital library is built, we arrive at the heart of the system.
Section 3, the ranking algorithm, choosing the best result. So the crucial point is this. When you search for something like best smartphone under $500, there are millions of pages in the index that technically match. So how does it pick the top 10? Well, it relies on hundreds of ranking signals, but the most critical ones are these. Relevance. Does the page clearly explain the topic or just kind of mention it in passing? Second is quality. Is the content detailed, accurate, and well-written? Third is authority. Is this website trusted by other reputable websites, or is it completely unknown? Fourth is user experience. Does the page load super fast? Is it mobile-friendly? Is it easy to read? And fifth is freshness. For breaking news or tech, it obviously wants newer content, though for timeless topics like, say, ancient history, older high-quality pages still do great. It's a complex, beautifully orchestrated system designed to prioritize helpfulness above all else. But what elevates a page from simply being stuck on page 2 or 3 to securing that highly coveted #1 spot?
Section 4. Reaching number 1. Beyond the basics.
And this brilliantly illustrates the biggest shift in how search works today compared to the past: the evolution of user intent. Old search was literally just about matching exact keywords. If you typed camera, it relentlessly looked for the word camera. But modern search, it's all about understanding user intent and context. If you search how to bake a chocolate cake, modern systems know your intent is to find a step-by-step recipe with ingredients, right? Not to read a Wikipedia article on the history of chocolate. Or if you search best phone for taking pictures, it knows to look for phones with high-performing cameras, even if the word camera isn't anywhere in your prompt. The websites that reach #1 are the ones that perfectly satisfy what the user actually meant, not just what they clumsily typed into the box.
Another amazing nuance here is that search is highly personalized. Have you ever noticed that you and a friend can search the exact same phrase but get slightly different results? That's because the algorithm factors in your specific context to be as helpful as possible. Your location matters. Searching coffee shop in New York yields totally different results than in London. It factors in your language, whether you're on a mobile phone or a desktop computer, and how fresh the information needs to be. It's dynamically adjusting millions of data points specifically for you, right in that fraction of a second. Pretty mind-blowing. And this dynamic capability leads us perfectly into the next era, because the paradigm of searching is evolving faster today than it has in the last 2 decades.
Section 5. AI and the future. The next era of search.
Let's move to and see how this builds on everything we've talked about so far. We are officially moving beyond the traditional list of blue links. Modern AI systems can now understand really complex questions, summarize information, and compare ideas completely naturally. Imagine typing, "I'm planning a 5-day trip to Japan with a budget of $2,000, create a travel plan for me." In the old days, you'd have to click through dozens of individual sites, taking notes, doing all the math yourself. Today, AI-powered search can instantly pull all that diverse information together, summarizing it into a custom itinerary for you right on the search page. It's a real game changer in how we interact with information.
However, with this incredible new power comes a very necessary word of caution. As search becomes more conversational and AI-driven, we have to remain critical thinkers. AI can and absolutely does make mistakes. Sometimes it synthesizes information incorrectly. That is exactly why it is absolutely vital to always check reliable, authoritative sources, especially when you're searching for critical information regarding your health, your finances, or legal advice. The fundamental mission of search is still to connect people with useful information, but as the user, verifying that information is more important now than it ever has been.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought to chew on. We've seen the incredible scale of the index, the tireless work of those digital crawler spiders, the brilliance of the ranking algorithms, and the dawn of AI synthesis. But as AI fundamentally changes how we search, doing all the summarizing and comparing for us, how will we as a society continue to verify what is actually true? It's a massive question that engineers and everyday users alike are going to be navigating for years to come. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the magic behind the search bar. The next time you hit enter and get your answer in a fraction of a second, you'll know exactly the massive technological symphony that just played out behind the scenes. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will see you in the next explainer.